Hello and welcome to Top 22 with Declan Carr and excuse me, with Declan Carr and Andy Cummins. How are you, Dec?
Yeah, all good. It was one of those nearly days today, wasn't it? It was tough though. We did say to go easy because of the ground, and it kind of worked out that way. We had two short enough price winners. You had money hoist and I had implicit, but I suppose if you back them all, you're still down for the day. So
Yeah,
nothing really to celebrate, but I suppose still looking in the right places.
that's it.
The Robert Tyler horse was off. She just wasn't good enough.
Wasn't good enough. Yeah, half the battle.
Yeah.
No, couldn't be. Can't win them all, but there's still a couple of winners and maybe a few little pointers for the future. That mare, that the name's just escaped me. She wasn't pulled up. She finished fourth. Little token, yeah. So we maybe can catch her at Limerick at the end of the month. That was a nice enough run. And yeah, so a few for the little tap tracker there. But if you're not winning, you're learning. So that's the main thing. Yeah. So that's the way we'll treat Top 21 and Clonmel. Obviously, a quick reminder, guys. Top 20 still has its shelf life. That's covering Nace on Friday if anybody's listening, but before the Nace card goes off. So you always get that listen if you need a few more tips. And the nap of the top still in there, very in place as well. And just a shorter price, unfortunately. But it's not our fault. There was a freezing fog, I suppose, on Sunday. But anyway, we will cover Fairyhouse here. 7 races. It's I don't know if it's fair to say a run of the mill card. The Danmore Handicap Chase going to be the premier race on the card at 157, 2 miles. Usually a good pointer for races in the future and a very nice pot to win in its own right as well. We will get to that in a few minutes. But we will start with it's not actually a maiden hurdle. It's a Racing TV Club Day at Fairyhouse Hurdle. It's actually a conditions race for horses that have not won in grade 1, 2 or 3 company for 4-year-olds. However, none of these have really done much over obstacles. There is a couple of French ones down the bottom. The fillies have a little bit of experience, but there's some very smart horses possibly making their debut from the flat here, Dec. Trust Your Instinct, who was 102 off 3 runs on the flat for Joseph O'Brien, and Boy Churchill, who we have flagged up as a decent National Hunt sire with his juvenile hurdlers. Script Rider, Comfort Zone and Cossack Chak coming to mind straight off the bat. So where would you go here, Dec? I know we don't have a lot to go on, but you do love the 4-year-olds.
I started to go through the race at the top and seeing I hadn't looked at the conditions, but I seen the first one in Impedpor, was it? Impedpor. Annie McNamara's, and I just saying that she was a maiden winner who was given a rating of 90 on the flat, and I was thinking, oh, that interests me. Is like, as I mentioned before, those horses mid 80s and 90s would interest me more than a horse 100 plus going jumping. They usually like a bit more. But then I got to the next one, I think it was rated 95 in the flat, and I was thinking, what sort of a race is this? And then I realised what it was. There's a few of them in there with nice flat marks, but there's too many of them to, like, when there's one of them, you go, right, I can keep an eye on one and maybe, but there's too many of them to really decide that there's not enough to go on. So I concentrated on the jumpers, and we have Korea Days. Oh, you're not that name here. Korea Days Blaze. Korea de Blaze.
Korea de Blaze. We'll go Korea de Blaze. Go on.
Yeah, she was a hurdle winner in France, and she's beaten 14 lengths in the grade 2 juvenile that Calaconti won at Leopardstown. And then Miss Mansour, she was 7th in that race. She was only beaten 8 lengths. But I actually sided with Nara, and she was 4th to Nürburgring in the grade 2 at Fairyhouse. Now, I know Nürburgring was beaten at Leopardstown, but he did carry a penalty that day, and I thought it was a really, really good run. I wouldn't be writing him off for anything yet. But Nara was the winner of a hurdles in a tie, and she might have been fancied that day, if I remember correctly. They might have.
If there was a bit of money for her, there was indeed.
Look, she's a hurdle. She is a hurdle winner in France at a toy, and fourth in that race. I think she could take a step forward, and maybe she's the one to be here. But there's not loads to go on, and if any of those ex-flat horses with the ratings of around, did you say there's one rated over 100?
Trust Your Instinct, rate 102 off 3
Yeah.
runs there.
Like, if any of them take to hurdling, they could be a big danger. But there's too many of them. You're totally guessing. You know, as I said, when there's one in it, you can go right. There's a chance with that one, but like, you're not going to go through the whole list of them saying, well, they all have a chance in this. So, you know, we mentioned them all, and whoever wins will do them. We won't be doing that.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
Yeah, I like Nara here, but funny race. I don't remember this race, or maybe it just, you know, as you said, they are 4-year-olds, so maybe I just skip it every other year. It's only since we started the tap that I fell in love with the juveniles.
We started making money off them. That's why.
That's
I'll put my hat in the ring here. Trust Your Instinct is as I said, just as I introduced the race. I love Churchill as a hurdle sire. He's done extremely well from a small sample size, as the horses I just mentioned earlier. Trust Your Instinct, as we said, mark of 102 on the flat off 3 runs. Won a maiden at the Curragh on debut, which is not easy to do, and was well back to do so. Was well backed to beat Casanova at Gowran, who was a well respected high 90s, low 100s type of horse. A bit of a handicap specialist. And then the race that ran in at Leopardstown, I think it was the Meld Stakes, maybe is the Meld or the Desmond, one or the other. I always get them mixed up. One of those Thursday evening Group 3s. There was only 4 runners, but they crawled, and Trust Your Instinct was at the back of that field, and he was never going to pick up the leaders. Still retains plenty of potential. First time Hood. It's not unusual for a juvenile to turn up in the first time Hood, and he's also gelded first time as well. Simon Tarrant's going to take the ride, and just going on the way Churchill has had so many decent juvenile hurdlers, this horse, maybe with the exception of Script Rider, is the highest rated on the flat to go jumping. I think Script Rider might have been 105 at his peak, or maybe he was 102. He's in around that anyway when Aidan O'Brien trained him. But it's interesting that this horse has stayed in Joseph O'Brien's stable. Jupiter Rock, who's also in the race, was actually sold out of the stable and is making his hurdles debut for Dennis Hogan. Just on the contrary, a few others, as you mentioned up the top there, Dec, Imadpour and Imitable. Jerry Hanna might have problems there. That could be a tough one, but they're very nice horses on the flat, as you mentioned as well. Nadawi for Gordon Elliott, also rated 93 on the flat by Cracksman, so he'll be having, I think these are Cracksman's first horses to go hurdling. Ran okay on debut, and then obviously the 3 fillies who have form in France, they'd have to be seriously respected, and they're probably the ones to beat. But if Trust Your Instinct takes to this, there mightn't be many horses that could live with him, and I'd usually hold my expectations back. But a horse with a very similar profile in the shape of Comfort Zone won hurdling debut for Joseph last year, and Churchill does get them, so I'm more than happy to take a chance given this horse's ability on the flat. 25-1 from around 40s, because he got this entry as well for the Triumph Hurdle. If he was to win this on debut, you'd have to take him very seriously for a race like the Triumph Hurdle, you would have thought, given his flat ability. And yeah, so I'm going to keep a very close eye on him. I probably will back him. I'll see how the market's going, but I do very much like his profile. Dec, are you taking a chance here, or are you leaving it quiet?
Look, it's very fair what you say about Trust Your Instinct. Like, he looking at his ability on the flat, like if he does take the jump and he could just run away from these, but
you're still taking it on trust.
Yeah, and I like to see the ones that were rated over 100 on the flat. Like, I know it's funny to say, but I do prefer the ones that rate mid-80s, mid-90s. I just think they love it more. They love that jumping test. But you've made a fair argument for the Churchills. you know, it is a fair argument. But like the jumpers in it they've ran in Ireland and they've ran in grade twos, not just maiden hurdles. So
Yeah, no, he'd want to be decent.
yeah, like and it was there was a few quid for Nara, and it was our debut in Ireland. So I'll side with horrible, not race them. Mad to have a bet on. That would be my selection. I'm not saying I'll be having a bet on Nara.
No worries. Well, trust your instinct. Looked like he's going to carry the second half because Mark Walsh is on Nara, so be very interested to see how it plays out.
Yeah, but you're going to trust your instinct anyway.
I am going to trust my instinct, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm never wrong either, and when I'm wrong, it's someone else's fault.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, the SBK's Mares Maiden hurdle up next over 2 miles and 2 furlongs and change, really. An open enough looking affair, 15 runners. A horse we talked a little bit about, Dec, on a previous podcast in here, New York Style. A mare who I said was in my opinion, was a major eye catcher behind Only by Night at Naas the last day when she was beating the guts of 20 lengths back and forth, but she was never really put in the race, and she's every chance she's going to improve mightily for that effort. What do you like here?
I don't know what to make of New York Style, because like they obviously tried to stop her the last day, but she might have shown too much, but they can't do it now. And Magic Dawn was actually chasing home Gavin's filly that day, but she fell at the last.
She fell, yeah.
I don't think she was totally done with either, but
I think she'd have been second, or at bare minimum, I think she would have given the favourite a bit of a fright, and I say that would make her favourite for this.
I'd say so. So she's one to keep an eye on. The one I've come down on is Derek McLaughlin's mare, Joya Del Mar. She was fourth at Big D. At Down Royal.
Yeah.
The second in the maiden, Mossy.
Yeah, on Stevens Estate to Mossy Fen Park, Henry de Bromhead horse.
She's the one I like. Look, as I said, I do like Big D, and we spoke to Owen, and he said he loves Big D.
He loves him. Right. Juvenile humour. I'll put that back in the first race. The other juveniles, but anyway, go on.
Look, she's the one I sort of. She's, you'd imagine she's going to be trying to win anyway. So, again, half the battle here. Ones to keep an eye on. Good Time Bell. This will be our last maiden. Be watching out for, see how she's jumping out the back. See what mark she gets. She's trained by Ed Colley. As you mentioned, Ed Colley probably has a good few to come over the next few weeks or months. Some of them are handicapped and some of them are ready to get a mark. So maybe he's giving himself a bit of a break after Catch the Beast. And
he's doing up the house probably and doing up the stables.
It would certainly do him no harm to go quiet for a while. Maybe just took his foot off the gas and said, I won't roll them out now every few days, but he does have plenty that are handicapped, and there's obviously that one must go now that we're still waiting on.
Hopefully he's okay.
I'd say he is. I'd say he's gonna lay low for a while.
Let the heat roll off. Yeah.
Exactly. Wait for someone else to show their hand too much, and the handicapper go after them. So, and the other one is True Test Me. She was 10 lengths off Coy the Bourbon at Naas, who backed that up today. So just one to keep an eye on. But I'd probably go for McLaughlin's Joya Del Mar. But I don't know what to make it New York Style, to be honest. She's the joker.
She's the joker in the deck for sure, because if she was on the front end at Naas, she would have been a hell of a lot closer. Like, it was a really, really eye-catching run. And you could theoretically go for a maiden hurdle like this and you wouldn't be crucified. You'd have a mark in the 1-teens and you could work off that.
It's mares only as well. So
you could absolutely work off that. Interesting. Speranza Wild, a mare in here who's won her only start in a point-to-point field. Be quite interesting to see what the market thinks of her. She'll probably be a big price though. Magic Dawn is probably going to be the favourite. Like, she was going to give Gavin Cromwell's mare, Only by Night, a bit of a race, I think, at Naas, and I think that form sets the standard personally. Dying Magic for Paul Nolan ran a nice enough race in a bumper. Like, she travelled well for a long way and only got tired late enough in the straight. Now, she got very, very tired and was beaten quite a long way, but I think that performance was better than the finishing position suggests. And it'd be interesting to see how she takes the hurdles. But all being equal, assuming there's another day for New York style, I'd be with Magic Dawn to win this and make amends for her mistake at Naas, in which she probably would have, as we said, challenged Only by Night, probably would have finished second. But that's the best form on offer for me. And I'd happily take her, but I'd want probably, like, I don't know if I wouldn't be getting involved with odds on, especially after she unseated. She probably won't be. I'd say she'll be about 7-4, give or take. I might even check the tissues in a second. But she'd be the one for me, Dec. And then you're with Dermot McLaughlin's, is it?
Yeah, I'm with Dermot McLaughlin's. I have the tissues here. Who were you talking about there?
Magic Dawn.
Magic Dawn, 15-8 on the tissues. She's probably going to need the money.
15 I said 7-4. So yeah, look, I'd take that. If 7-4 was available, if it's a big if now, if 15-8 shown on the tissues, but
yeah,
had her at 7-4. Anyway, on to the next race, 3 mile. Sorry, this computer nearly crashes on me. The SBK handicap hurdle over 3 miles. A lot of unexposed horses in here. To be honest with you, Prince Palace, who showed a little bit at Naas, maybe showed a little bit too much at Naas. I think that was behind Matten's Way at odds of about 250 to 1.
Yeah.
Probably is handicapped on the back of that run only. Castlefield Boy has it all to prove after, he was doing quite well, winning a handicap hurdle and winning a maiden hurdle. Pulled up the last twice though.
It was absolutely bottomless when he won at Clonmel, and
it was,
he went around the inside. Every horse that day came wide, and he went around the inside on the churned up ground, and maybe it's just left his mark. Like, it was very, very tough that day.
Yeah, no, it was. You're definitely right. Mint Boy also very, very interesting. You could make an argument he was a little bit disappointing behind the likes of Sequestered, but he kind of returned to form behind Easy Fella, and does have heavy ground form. I don't think heavy ground is going to be. Is there going to be heavy ground? I wouldn't say so. The weekend, Dec.
It's probably gone back to soft now.
Yeah,
Fairyhouse can get soft.
It can. But Mint Boy if you take out that run behind Sequestered at Galway, which was very disappointing in my eyes.
Yeah.
126 is workable, and we know he goes on soft ground. He would probably be the one that looks the most interesting. But what about you, Dec? What do you think?
I think it's winnable, this race.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything really standing out, and there's only 10 runners. And I know Prince Palace has shown plenty in maidens, and like, on one hand he's shown plenty in maidens, on the other hand he's shown plenty in maidens. He's shown he has ability, and like, I'm not too worried about how much he showed, because it is winnable. And like, the form is good behind Matten's Way. I think the horse of Henry de Bromhead, Shigurn, and Shap de Saloy at Clonmel was in between them. Is this his handicap debut? I think it's
it is. For Prince Palace.
Yeah.
So he's ran in 3 maidens and ran well in 2 of them. Yeah.
But yeah, like, and the day at Clonmel he was beaten, it was very testing. That might have been Clonmel Odd Chase Day.
He's behind Chapeau de Soleil. Yeah, it was very testing ground. Yeah.
Now look, he might handle this. It's not too big a field. I know don't often like backing them in on handicap debut, but it's a small enough field, and he has raced up with them in his maidens. He might be okay here, and obviously Mint Boy is one to keep an eye on as well. He was second in a rated novice hurdle. It was basically off 123. He's up £6 to 126 here. He was 21 lengths clear at the third. He was ahead of Champagne Admiral at Gowran too, who's won at Leopardstown. Can't remember what mark he won off. But he is a nice horse. But look, I would take the chance on Prince Palace here, even though he's showed his hand. I think for a handicap like this, he's shown plenty of ability, and I don't think there's too many that are. There's nothing really standing out. It's a small enough field.
It is. It's a very small field for this type of nature of race. Pinion J up the top for Gordon Elliott. Arguments can be made that better ground is what he wants, and maybe they're just getting his mark down a little bit for the spring and maybe even early summer. Yeah, I had it between Mint Boy and Prince Palace. I'm just not sure, like that run at Galway. Like I usually like to forgive a horse one bad run, but it really it was just such a disappointing run at Galway when I was expecting him just to go and win easily. And he did show a little bit better form at Thurles. He was well beaten kind of by Easy Fella. They were a long way back to the third, but that form was really like I think it was the Dabbler back in third, and he's anything but a herder these days. So it's hard to kind of get a grasp on that form. And if you are so, I wouldn't even say you're giddy or bullish, but if you do like Prince Palace and I had it between the two of them, I'd probably you'd probably sway me towards Prince Palace, but that would be at a very, very tentative. I wouldn't be saying it's the nap of the top now.
No, well, to be honest, if you'd have made a better case for me, boy, I might have said you're
exactly. And I couldn't really do it. Like I just need to see more. He was good at the start of the season. He was desperate at Galway. He showed a little bit more at Thurles, but I don't think that race at Thurles was like a good race at all. I think that was I think the winner could have won a process of elimination style. So I just can't really trust that race. Prince Palace, as we said there, lovely run behind Matten's Way. If you said the ground was too testing at Clonmel, behind Chapeau de Sly, fair enough.
I think that was the day they were walking over the line.
Yeah, they were. It was tough. Yeah, people calling for that day to be called off, I think. And look, he ran well. I think he needs to replicate. I think his debut run was the best of them all. But if he can get back to that 116 is workable, that's fair enough, especially in a winter maiden like that. So yeah, okay, Prince Palace, why not? Let's do it. I don't know if it'll be the nap at the top, but it's a start, I suppose. Moving on then, Dec, to the 157. So this is the main event, the SBK Dan and Joan Moore Memorial Handicap Chase. It's a grade 3 over 2 miles. 2 miles and maybe half a furlong. My eye was instantly drawn to San Ra with Jody McGarvey, who I think they're getting him ready for the Grand Annual. I would have rather seen him running one more graded chase instead of running him with a handicap. But here we are. I think this is the plan. And it'd be just very interesting to see what he shows and if he can go well or not.
I'm not sure you'd leave this behind for a Grand Annual. This is
that's a fair point. Yeah, it's McManus might.
Yeah, he might, but it's always a small field and it's worth 100 grand.
But Fighting Fit though is in it for McManus too, and that horse is in the form of his life, so they might go with him. But we'll see.
He is, but like I actually thought a long time ago, at the beginning of the season, either San Ra or Dysart Dynamo would turn up here. That I actually thought that Willie has so many at his disposal, like grade 1, 2 mile horses, that one of them was going to turn up here and have a good go. So I'm kind of thinking I should back him. Like I do think, I thought one of them was being lined up for this, and I've had the same thoughts as you as well. Is it the next day? But it's 100 grand. It's a small field. Anything can happen in a Grand Annual. And I know, McManus also has so many horses he can throw a couple of darts at the Grand Annual. He can take a chance of anything going wrong. But San Ra from he's Fighting Fit, no matter how well he's handicapped, is going. I don't think he's going to get one because he's a grade 1 horse, San Ra. Like if he was trained in England, he's running in grade 1s. He probably never attempts a handicap like this. But look, I'm kind of struggling with him, but I've thought for a long time either him or Dice is going to turn up here. So I feel like I have to back. I'm just wondering, did they get the mark down enough? And is that what you're thinking? They're going to get
Yeah,
the
I
mark
think they're going to go for a quiet one.
right.
I do. I really, really do. I think the Grand Annual is the plan. I think they've been working back from this race since middle of last year, since I knew he wasn't going to win an Open Grade 1. And yeah, I think they're definitely working back from the Grand Annual, given that he was how bubble wrapped he was to win a county hurdle, laughing at them as well. So I definitely think they're working back from the Grand Annual with him.
Yeah, it's harder to work back though to land the Grand Annual than it was to win a county the way they did.
Yeah, as a novice, yeah, obviously, yeah, 100%.
You know,
but like even like Willie's done this over hurdles so many times. Like we saw, was it Sharjah? No, it wasn't. It was
Wicklow Brave.
We saw Wicklow Brave. We saw Wicklow Brave nearly win a Coral Cup off a big weight. He's done it with Wicklow Brave in a county hurdle. Aramon was only beaten by San Ra in a county hurdle off 160 odd. He nearly did it last year with Saldier, was it? Was it possibly Saldier in the county hurdle? Didn't he run well? Or was it Sharjah?
Oh, he's tried it time and time again. Like he's won all the hurdles with Saldier and Sharjah.
Yeah, exactly. So he hasn't done it as much over fence as Willie, but I'm pretty sure like I think he's trying the quality horse and the handicap route. And the Grand Annual, in my opinion, the last few years, I know Dino Blue was beaten in it last year, but the last few years it's not been a strong race at all, because the 2-mile chase division is not a strong division. And if you have a horse, even if you have a fringe grade 1 horse, you can win big handicaps. And granted, the Danmore is a big handicap, but the Grand Annual is a bigger handicap, and I think they're getting him ready for that.
Yeah, the only thing is, Willie does run a nice one in this. Like
he's got Uncle Phil down there with Paul Townend up as well.
Chavez as well.
Chavez,
but he does, like Black Ball ran in this, and
he did.
He was just touched off by Dunvegan, and Mount Leinster ran in it last year. Like they were really, really good horses.
Dunvegan, no mugs,
yeah, you know. So, but like Willie does run a nice one in this, and that's why I thought it'd be Sandra and or Dysart Dynamo. I thought it could have been both at one stage. So I don't know. I think he could be off. Like it's just I don't think Willie likes to leave this one behind.
I think he has it covered.
Yeah, well, look, I actually do like Chavez. He was 5th at Leopardstown, 8 lengths off the Fox Tiara. He's lightly raced for an 8-year-old, and that race the last day was his handicap debut. You know, in whether it's over hurdles or fences, that was the first time he ran in any sort of a handicap in his life. So I think he'll come on for that experience a lot, and he is a big danger. Obviously, let's be clear about it. Is in here, he was keen and toured in the Drinmore. Probably didn't stay that day, dropping back and trip. He's a pound lighter than San Ra. I don't know.
Big mark for a novice.
Yeah, at 150. I feel like I have to fancy San Ra, and it is a bit of a head wrecker. But I think Willie doesn't like to leave this one behind, and he does run nice horses in it. He's not always relying on something down the bottom like Chavez. So I'm finding it hard to split them. They're both capable. It's just whoever is. It depends on what San Ra turns up, and the market will probably tell you on the day.
It will. I'm going to go with Willie's novice, Uncle Phil. Other novice. Is Chavez a novice actually? I don't think he is actually.
I should be. He's only raced 3. Yeah, he's raced 3 times over fences and 3 times over hurdles.
He has. Yeah. Okay. No, he is. Yeah. January 23. He's not.
Right.
Anyway, so
he's not a novice, but he's
may as well be. I'm going to go with Uncle Phil. And it's because I'm still a big fan of Imagine, even though he kind of fell in the last day. Lucid Dreams, albeit Liam Quinlan claiming £5. There's a £3 swing between those two horses for, I think, half a length. I'm not a big fan of including the jockey's claim when taking handicapping into account, because claimers claim for a reason, unless you're like Mikey O'Sullivan or something.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take that into account. I'd rather have Paul Townend than, with all due respect, than someone claiming £5. But Uncle Phil was still quite lightly raced, 139. So he did get £9 for finishing very close to Imagine and Lucid Dreams, but it's very likely that he's going to be able to take that in his stride. If I think Imagine is as good as I think he is, which probably isn't, grade 1 novice form. It's probably high 140s. If you take Uncle Phil and his natural progression into account, I'd say he's close enough to a high 140s horse himself by the end of this season. If he's running here off 139, I think he's got a fair chance. It's going to be a different test for him, but he ran a career best last time out on soft ground, so I'm going to take a chance on him off 10 stone 12. I just think, let's be clear about it, I love the idea of coming back to 2 miles, but that mark of 150 is awfully high.
Yeah.
It's very, very high. San Ra, already spoken ad nauseum about him. I can understand where you're coming from, Dec. I still just think it's for the he's a grand annual type.
Get a text off Frank Berry when he would look out for him in the comments after he listens.
Exactly. And Lucid Dreams, who I suppose you could argue boosted the form of Imagine and Uncle Phil by winning that match race against Joyu Mashin, but I don't know if I'd really call that a form boost. He ran accordingly, really, behind Gaelic Warrior at Limerick, and in typical John Ryan style, the horse running every other week, which I'm all for. Why not? The race horses run them. But no, be Uncle Phil for me. I think 139 is very, very workable, and I'll happily back him. And Dec, you're sticking with San Ra, yeah?
I've been between San Ra and Chavez, and
don't let me put you off now.
I'll take the two of them, right?
Okay.
I'll probably decide during the half an hour before.
Okay. Well, you better put up a tweet or something. Tag the podcast.
I should be there, so I'll be having a look at them and.
Let me know. Yeah,
having a look at the reaction in the parade ring beforehand of the connections, not the horses.
The body language, and see if there's any runners sprinting out of the parade ring, getting down to the rails. Anyway, on to the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Beginners Chase. Again, 2 miles and about half a furlong. Hunter's Yarn is out to try and make amends here. He had a race well and truly in the bag before tipping up at the last. In the middle of December there. Firm Footings, he's had 2 lovely runs over hurdles, over fences, behind Spillans Tower and then behind Marine Nationale. So he's, that's pretty strong form, and he's going to be a pretty viable opponent, I think, for Hunter's Yarn. Interesting to see Pat Daru in here after running probably a career best over fences anyway. When tipping up at the last, when well in contention at Leopardstown over Christmas. He has a mark of 136, but even though it looked like he was going to go close off it, he was actually probably risen for that, is he? Yeah, he got £4 for tipping up at the last. Little bit harsh, but he has struggled in beginners chases up until now. Polo Lounge, Biker, Molten Grove and Baru rounding out the field here, Dec. What way do you see this going?
I think it's between Hunter's Yarn and Firm Footings, and I think Hunter's Yarn is probably going to be odds on here. He was going to hack up a Fairyhouse when he fell. He was rated 143 over hurdles.
Was well fancied for a county hurdle last year as well.
Yeah, £8 higher than. He was rated higher in Britain, but 143 in Ireland was his peak. That was £8 higher than Firm Footings. But he is a 7-year-old, and Firm Footings is a 6-year-old.
Yeah, valid point.
He was 8 lengths behind Marine Nationale. I spoke a couple of taps ago about how in awe I was of that performance, and it's probably a really, really good run by Firm Footings. Probably not the most sensible thing in the world. And he was a head second to the invincible Spillans Tower. So, he's basically chased home the 2 best horses in training.
According to me.
That was in a rated race. They carried the same weight. As I said, he was rated £8 less than Hunter's Yarn over hurdles, but this is chasing, and he's a year younger, and I think he could do him on Saturday.
Tissues have Hunter's Yarn at 7-4 and Firm Footings at 9-4. I had Hunter's Yarn as an evens poke.
I think Hunter's Yarn will be odds on.
Okay. How much odds on? Are you talking like 10-11 or like 1-2?
Oh, maybe not 1-2, but
4-6.
He could open like 8-11, 4-6, and drift. But
yeah,
I think he will open quite short, especially if Safari runs well tomorrow at Nice or today at Nice.
Yeah. I think
evens at Nice, depending on when you're listening.
Yeah, I would have thought evens are better on Hunter's Yarn was probably a fair bet, but Firm Footings has shown plenty in 2 chase starts, in fairness to him. He was actually probably a bit unlucky not to win on chase and debut. Splan's Tower just kind of out-battled him over a wrong trip for that horse, but Firm Footings does look like...
into him, had he Splan's Tower?
He did, yeah. He had 2 runs in him, yeah. Over fences. Like it's a proper match. It's I wouldn't give anything else a chance. Like the Tissues have Pat Daru at 3-1. If he goes off 3-1, I'll shave my hair and eat it. He'll go off a lot. He'll be friendless. Hunter's Yarn, the way you see it, like how far was he going to win at Fairyhouse, and he's still getting to run the beginners? Like he could be very talented indeed. Like he was going to win that race, signing autographs going up the home straight if he didn't tip up at the last. But the fences are there to be jumped. I do like Firm Footings as well, and I don't want to contradict myself later on because Spans Tower is a horse I like, but I think he's going to be a top 2.5 to 3 miler. If he's beating a horse like Firm Footings over 2 miles, I think it's a testament to him. But I am going to go with Hunter's Yarn because if the Tissues are saying 7-4, if I got even money or better, I'd probably just take it. And Firm Footings can still, with 3 second place runs, with a bit of luck, still get a mark somewhere in maybe the high 130s. And that would either A, win you a beginner's chase, especially as we kind of come into the springtime, or B, you should still be very, very competitive with a progressive 6-year-old in a decent spring handicap chase, in my opinion.
Do you not think if Hunter's Yarn was the horse that the market might say is, he would be running in the novice race tomorrow at Nice than this beginners?
He could be, but they probably have Mr. Policeman for that, and they just want to get a win into him. So, like, I would imagine if he didn't fall on his chase debut, he would have almost been odds on to have been running at Nice on Friday.
Right.
100%. But he fell, so they're going to go for the easier option.
Okay.
That's what I would have thought anyway. I completely say keep him in beginners company. If he's better than even money, I'll back him. But you're with Firm Footings, are you?
I'm with Firm Footings, and we mention horses' ages a lot on this, and he is a year younger, and there's probably more for improvement there. And he's probably more lightly raced as well. So
probably, yeah.
There's not much in it.
I wouldn't say there's much in it. Yeah. Anyway,
Hunter's Yarn has raced a lot.
Hunter's Yarn has 11 career starts to Firm Footings 12 career starts. So not quite. Now I didn't actually check if some of them are in point-to-point fields. Hunter's Yarn did run a lot of bumpers, so there is every chance Firm Footings has more experience over obstacles.
Yeah, look, I just think Hunter's Yarn is going to be very short. And look, Firm Footings, those 2 chase runs behind 2 good horses. I know he's a lot to find on his total rating, but I do fancy him to do Hunter's Yarn on Saturday. Fair
enough. We'll move on then, Dec, to a race that I'm going to give eagle-eyed or eagle-eared listeners a tip for the end of the month in this race. But this is the Irish Stallion Farms EBF rated novice chase. It's over 2 miles and just shy of 6 furlongs. Dec, you had the conditions of the race. So it was 11 stone 3 for horses that are rated 114 and below, was it? And then a pound extra for everything above that, was it?
So it's 100 the top weight, it can't be rated more than 125. So It's
Right.
11.3 for horse rate 114, and then £1 for every pound you're rated over that.
Okay, so it's essentially a limited. It's essentially a limited handicap chase then.
Well, basically because a lot of them have marks in it, but you know we often cover these races and none of them will have a mark. They might all run off the same way. But what I can't work out, and I was sending you a voice message earlier, is that Hands of Gold is 11.10 here, and that puts him on 121, but he has no official mark. It's not on the HRI website. And his hurdle, the last hurdle mark he ran off was 128. He finished 14 lengths behind the winner. They didn't drop him £7 for it. So I don't know where his mark has come from. If anyone knows, please
answers on a postcard,
because but look, I like that he does have a mark. It's turned it into it's basically turned the race into a handicap. But Jason, imagine he got in and off the 11.3. It has to be something to do with his hurdle mark, that. But still, he still should be well in, I think, at the 121.
But is Saturday today though, Dec?
Well, I don't know. I'm struggling to find the winner looking around him. Like, never a dull moment. He was beating Eck off 116 at Torres. He's experienced enough for one of these races. He's in here off 118. The Tom Gidney horse is very interesting in 10 Raffles. There's lots of experience.
That mark came from the Bleeding Sky now. 118. Like, that is just literally, where's that now? Like 118.
He beat Oroco in September of 2021. He's only a 6-year-old. It's his first run in Ireland.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of this race, but we've mentioned these auction hurdle races before. Hands of Gold, I think, won 2 of them. Beat the likes of Delicasa, Lunga, and a couple of other horses we've mentioned. He ran behind Facile Vega and Navan, the big chap in a rated novice race. Maybe it's come from there, but he has no official mark. So I don't know where the 121 has come from, and it's just, I just want to know where it came from. Somebody just tell me where it came from. I don't know what to make of the race, and I want to back him because I think if you're well in, you shouldn't leave races behind. If you have a good handicap mark, you should take them in the races. They're fragile. You don't know what's going to happen to them. So I think they should take it. But then what are they bumping into in this intense raffles? 117, 6-year-old. But then he's going to have to adjust to our offences. So he might take a run to do that. It depends how well he's been skilled. I don't know. I think I'll back him, Hands of Gold. I just don't think he should leave behind. And we don't know enough about intense raffles to make a case for him.
Right. Well, Hands of Gold, for me, there's going to be a race at the end of the month at Naas. I think it's going to be on if I'm right, it's the week before the Dublin Racing Festival, the Sunday before. So that should be the 28th of January.
But will Verdun Place not come back and follow up on that?
He could, but I don't think he will. But this is going to be, he'll have 15 days to recover. It's a handicap chase where in 2022, the top weight was 131. Hands of Gold gets in there around the 121 mark at a track that he won at last year. I think he's going to go and win that. And I think you'll see a big market move for him when he does go in that race. Failing that, there is a grade B handicap chase at Leopardstown, I think the week before Cheltenham, over 2.5 miles or 2 miles 5 as well. So it'll be one of those two, but I'd be willing to put money on it. It's going to be Naas at the end of the month for him.
What's the worst that happens to him if he wins this race?
That's another valid point. You probably get knocked out with a 125 bracket, I would imagine, easily. I think nearly if any of these win. Maybe with the exception of Wellington Hill.
Does he even pass the 128 he got over hurdles? I know he's beaten 14.
I'd say get matched unless he went and absolutely dotted up.
They don't really dot up in these races though.
No.
They're small fields.
I think Gold Bullion is harshly enough treated off 125 on the balance of form. Where it all began has prone to the odd error. Hands of Gold, I think, is next time out. Never a dull moment, well experienced. Ran pretty well behind Willy Wampus last time at Thurles. Was closing all the way to the line, so and that made me think maybe a step up in trip would suit. And up to 2 miles 6 looks just what the doctor ordered. You made a good point about Intense Raffled. He's the joker in the deck. He could be absolutely anything off 118 or sorry 117. And then there's Wellington Hill, who I would have my reservations about him. So I've came to a process of elimination. I had it between McManus's pair, but I think Hands of Gold, I'm going to stick to my guns. I think it's Nace at the end of the month for him. So anybody that sees him, pop him in your tracker if he gets the entry for Nace at the end of the month. That's when you go make your money for the Dublin Racing Festival there. And I'm going to stick with Never a Dull Moment to win this race as the here and now horse, stepping up in trip after run well at Thurles last day. So that will be myself. And what about yourself, Dec? You're going to stick with Hands of Gold?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think when you're well handicapped, you take your chance because you don't know what's coming. And, you know, you can always find improvement in them. Like, particularly, what trip is that race over at the end of the month?
2.5.
2.5.
So he'll be coming back 2 furlongs, but he's 1 over 2.5 at Nace anyway. So, like, I think it's just tailor-made.
If he wins Saturday and Verdun Place wins tomorrow and they both turn up in that race, who do you?
No, so I think if one of them, if Verdun Place wins Friday, he goes to the Dublin Racing Festival. I hope. Would he get in though? That's the big question. Jesus.
Well, he would find wherever he goes up in the handicap. If he wins tomorrow, he will find easily by stepping up to that 2.5 miles.
Yeah.
Here, like, and he'll have one. Oh no, sorry. If he gone back to Nace where he's
coming
won.
Back, yeah.
So, you know, what is he rated tomorrow? He's 116 or something, is he?
Who is Verdun Place?
Verdun Place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh look, I don't know. That's we already discussed him. He's just wrecking the heads. He's only opened the 5-1. Yeah, look, I Hands of Gold. He is off that mark. I don't know where it came from. It's not even official yet, but he's somehow racing off the 11:10. He's well in, I think, at that. I think you should, whether they do or not, I think you should take a chance. So I have to form an opinion somehow, and I can't really make a case for the Intense Raffles. I'd be only spoofing. So I will go for Hands of Gold.
Hands of Gold then for Dec. And if he doesn't Dec, you back him the next day. That's it. If there is ever more, that's it.
As we say, like, we're looking in the right places. So if you get it wrong one day, and you know it's coming, you will get it back. So don't be afraid to stick your neck out sometimes and roll the dice. Like, it could be this day.
Yeah, exactly. We finish off with the SPK Pro-Am bumper and Irish National Hunt Flat Race, 2 miles, and I'd imagine You're a Dreamer is going to be, he could, even though he's never seen a race course before, be a shade of not be a shade of odds on. No, he could be all the rage, but Romeo Coolio, the aeroplane, is in here, isn't he?
Yeah.
Of course he is. Yeah, 420 grand. 10 to 1 for the champion bumper. Despite never being on a official race course in his life. Oh God, it just makes me angry talking stuff like this. It's just nauseating and tiresome. But look, I hope you see a good horse, but anyone that's backing a horse that's never seen an official race track in its life at 10 to 1 for a grade 1 bumper just needs. I can't even. I can't. Look, for me, I'd actually have an each way bet here. Sporting Glory, who I thought made a nice start to his life over in bumpers. Now, he is an 8-year-old, so he's obviously been extremely difficult to train, but ran a very, very nice race, and probably bumped into a nice horse at Down Royal, Mongibello of the Crawfords and Simon Minear and Isaac Swade. He looks like a very, very nice horse, and I'd say I wouldn't be surprised if you see him in the bumper at the Dublin Racing Festival. And I'd say he might turn a few heads that day as well. It's a mare. You'll see her in the mare's bumper at the Dublin Racing Festival. You'll absolutely see her there, and I'd say she'll go close now. But Sport and Glory, I thought he made a nice start to life, a delayed start to life on a race course, and I'll actually back him each way because he will be an each way price. Anything you want to add, Dec, to this?
Yeah, look, maybe Jack Moon.
Right,
was toward to my trump card the last day, beating 12 lengths. Oh, like other than that, it's Sport and Glory and Jack Moon. I don't really know. The favourite's a big talking horse. I've no massive opinion on this race. I'll hope to have made enough money that I can go home. I'll have to say if I get it back in this.
Awesome. No worries. That sounds good. Anything, Dec, for Punchestown before we go, or would you pop up a tweet?
I will definitely pop up a tweet. I haven't actually looked through it, but you can take us away because I know you have a strong opinion.
Yeah, I'm hopefully to see now the Sky Bet Novice Chase, which is at 105. It's 2 miles, 3 furlongs, 3 miles and half a furlong, really. Some very, very nice horses potentially in here. Imagine, who we were speaking a little bit about. I still think he's a 2 miler personally, but it looks like he's going to rock up here. Very nice horse. Meeting of the Waters, I think, was supposed to go to Warwick. I haven't actually checked Warwick's declaration, so I don't know if he's actually been declared or not. Monbeg Park, who is 1 run away from getting a beautiful handicap mark. 4th the Thurles behind Ilete Tomp, and then 4th behind Marine National at Leopardstown. He's 1 run away from, us getting stuck into him over maybe 2.5 miles. Then the main man, Spillans Tower, up to 2 miles 3, which is fantastic. This race is going to tell us an awful lot about him. It's going to tell us if he's going to be a graded horse in the spring or if they're getting him ready for a handicap. And I'm very excited to see which it is. He's already rated 137 over fences, and that's as a result of running over 2 miles. He's just not a 2 miler, and it's his talent that's gotten him that mark over 2 miles. He's going to improve 15 pounds, I'd say, when he's either at this trip or at 3 miles, either maybe at the end of the season or next year. The horse I absolutely love. I probably will back him, because if he goes and wins, even if I think it could be a handicap, I'd be absolutely sick. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. And that haven't even gotten to the bottom yet of Blood Destiny, who put in one of the finest chasing debuts you'll probably see all season at Naas. Was absolutely brilliant. I would actually rather see him at 2 miles personally. I can see why they're sticking at 2 miles 3. I can completely understand that. But if anybody does like Blood Destiny for a race like the Marsh, don't be put off just because Gaelic Warrior is in there. We all know Gaelic Warrior is a better horse going the other way. Even though he's won, obviously he's ran well in the Ballymore, he's won a Liffey handicap. He's definitely a better horse going the other way. So if you do like Blood Destiny, he'd probably be odds on to win this race. But if you like him for a race like the Marsh, do not be put off by the fact that Gaelic Warrior is in there as an evens favourite or whatever. The Moscow Flyer, then, Dec, Blizzard of Oz, Mystical Power, and Lomborn are in there for Willie Mullins. Jigoro, horse that I spoke about on top 20. I'd be very interested to see how he gets on coming back to 2 miles. I think he's a very, very nice horse, and I'd be quite interested in him at 135. The rest, though, will probably have to wait for Twitter, because we are kind of running out of time, and I could speak about this Punchestown card plenty. Really, really nice card, and I'm excited to get stuck into it. I might even try and get myself down to Punchestown to see a few of these, because it's a nice horse, and it's a nice horse. It's a nice card. Nice horse I saw there, Percival Lagwan, the qualified riders handicap chase.
Amateur National, is it?
The Amateur National, yeah. They haven't ran him over 3 miles yet, and this is 2 miles 6. So I was thinking maybe possibly National Hunt Chase, but it's probably not that. It's probably the Irish Grand National for him. So very, very interesting card. I'm really, very excited to see it, and hopefully Spillans Tower runs a big race. Probably fair to say there's no nap at the top this week, or this episode, Dec. If you want, you can force me into the 3 mile handicapper if you want, but I wasn't too strong on it.
No, look, and we won't force it. There is times where we'll be very, very keen on one, but we're not going to force it. And there's times we'll find one in a Maiden Hunter Chase. It didn't come off today, but that was...
I'm blaming the ground on that one.
Yeah, it was probably the ground, and it did come. Every bet at Clonmel came with a disclaimer. You know, we did mention the ground to be very, very heavy. So, you know, you do have to.
Well, unless they win, then the ground's fucking lovely.
Yeah, great ground. Yeah, I love it when it's heavy. No, look, I'm not going to force a nap at the top, and I'm not even going to force a nap for myself. I don't think it's a great betting card, but I do think it's an interesting card. So maybe we'll have a nap at the top for Sunday at Punchestown, which we'll put up on Twitter.
Absolutely. That sounds like a plan. But until then, that was Top 22, Declan Carroll, Andy Cummins. Very much appreciate you guys for listening in. Just keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep commenting on our posts. We do very much enjoy it. And until next time, guys, bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.